Hello students, I welcome you all to yet another session of Structure of the Atom. Here we will talk about valency and atomic number. So, okay. So first of all, a few things which we need to know is about atomic number. So atomic number is, it defines the identity of an element. Like for example, you have roll numbers, right? For you in your classroom. So even if, the teacher do not know your name, they can go back to, they can call maybe randomly roll number 14 and they can randomly, ask that student. So you will know and everybody will know that who you are, right? So atomic number is something like, that only. It defines the identity of an element and determine its position in the periodic table, where it is going to lie. Okay. Now, valency is something that determines how atoms combine with each other and explains chemical bonding pattern. So these two property will help us to understand, the chemical nature of any kind of element. Okay. And how do they behave. So this is what we are going to do. Now, valency, what exactly valency is? Valency is nothing but the combining capacity of an element. What do I mean by that? For example, I am here again. Okay. And here you are. So if you we have two hands, right? So my combining capacity is 2 and your combining capacity is 2. If I'm shaking your hand, one hand with this, so and the second one with this, so 2 each, right? So we both have two hands and our combining capacity or holding of something is like two things, right? Okay, obviously if you are not holding with a lot of things. Okay, so combining capacity is 2. Similarly, if we talk about elements, so elements have, like we discussed earlier, right, outer shell electrons. Okay, so I gave you a little bit idea earlier. So suppose if they are filled with the number of maximum capacity of that shell, then they will be a stable atom and they will not need any more electron. Okay, but if the if the maximum capacity of a shell is not fulfilled, then that atom will start reacting with other atoms to make bond. Okay, and that bond would be made, and that would be the combining capacity of any kind of atom. Okay, so it depends on the outermost shell only, and that shell we call as valence shell also. Okay, because it will determine the valency. Now for example, here as you can see, electronic configuration is nothing but how many amount of electrons are present in each shell of that atom or element. So this is K shell and this is L shell and this is M. So for hydrogen, let me make it here. So for hydrogen, first shell is there, only first shell is there and only one electron is here, right? But we do remember that the capacity of first shell is of 2 electrons, right? Correct? So that means one more electron can come here. So its valency will become 1. Okay, its valency will become 1. Valence electron is the electron present in the outer shell, outermost shell of an atom. Valency is the combining capacity. That means how much more does it can take or lose, okay, to get stable. So this is the difference between valence electron and valency. Again, I'm repeating, do not get confused. Valence electron is the electron present in the outermost shell, like suppose 3. So 3 electrons would be here. But how much more, or let's not take 3, let's take 5. But this third shell, no, so how much more it can take, or does it have to lose to gain gain stability basically? Okay, so that is it. That is valency, and valence electron are just the electrons present in the valence shell or the outermost shell. Okay, I hope it's clear. Let me draw this once more. I lost it. Okay, so this is hydrogen and this is the this is one electron in its outermost shell. Let's talk about carbon now. So if we take carbon, so we can see already 2 shells are there. So K shell is filled with 2 electrons. We'll draw that. 2 electrons. And let's take L shell. Okay, so L shell, two shells are there for carbon, right? So L shell is filled with 4 electrons. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we remember that the large shell has a capacity of having 8 electrons, right? But it is only filled with 4. So 4 more is needed. So valence electrons are 4, and the need of 4 more electrons is the valency. So 4 electrons, 4 is the valency of the carbon. Okay, let me just clear this once. Okay, right. Now, Now, if we talk about oxygen, so oxygen, again, you can see that it has this and this shell, right? And here 2 electrons are there, okay? But the atomic number is 8, right? So 2 is here and 6 is here. 5, 6. But we know the outermost shell is L and it has to have 8 electrons. So that means 6 is filled, we need only 2. So here the valency would not be, 6. It is the valence electrons that is 6. The valency would be 2. That means if it takes only 2 new electrons from someone or some atom, so it will complete its octet. That means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 electrons will be filled. So that is what we mean by that. I'll explain one more to you. Let me just explain maybe chlorine to you. Okay, so let me make it here. Okay, so chlorine has 2 electrons in the inner shell, right? 8 in the second one. So we don't have to do anything with second, right? Because the last one is the one which is going to matter. Now the last shell. Last shell has 7 electrons. Okay, and its atomic number is 17. So you can again count all the electrons, whether it's making up to 17 or not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Correct. Okay, now it needs only one more electron to fulfill this octet rule. Octet rule. Okay. So to fulfill the octet rule, only one electron is needed, one new electron. So the valency of chlorine would be 1. Okay, now it can, the K element rule says that, M shell can have more than 18, almost 18 electrons. The maximum capacity would be that. But again, something is there which we'll discuss in detail later. Okay, how is it different? The octet rule and this. Why this is basically energy level. Okay, so yeah, I hope you understood that. Okay, now so element identity is basically atomic number, right? It determines basically the position where the atom is going to be, or the element is going to be. The bond formation is basically valency, which explains how and why atoms connect, right? How much electrons are there in their outer shell, whether they should gain, whether they should lose or share their electrons to make that. Octet rule is something which we discussed, that only 8 electrons can be there in outer shell, right? So this is what I wanted you to know, that large shell should have, large shell should have, suppose this is the large shell. If we do not talk about the first one should only have only 2 electrons. But the large shell which is going to be there, it is supposed to have only 8 electrons, not more than that. So that is what I meant, earlier when I told you that, that K element shell thing would come later. Okay, now coming to the quiz. So here again, I have given you the answer, but I would like you to go back to your textbook and try doing the questions related to the particular topic, okay? And come back to me for any doubts. So atomic number of an element is equal to number of neutrons, number of protons. So number of protons, okay? See, why is it so? I'll explain you here only. That's why I have given you the answer as well. So see, 1 second. Okay, so see, number of electrons, we are discussing that in outer shell it can change, right? It can be lost or gained. Okay, but number of protons are going to be same for each atom of similar kind of element. So that is why we always take number of protons. okay, and not number of other things for atomic number. Correct. Now, what is the valency of oxygen that we have discussed? It is 2, because in outer shell there will be four electrons. Okay, and 2 more will be needed to reach to the atomic number. Okay. Now, one more thing is there. Yeah, sodium. So sodium Z11 forms NaCl. What is the valency of sodium? Again, it is 1, because in outer shell only 1 electron is there and it is ready to give out that electron basically. Okay, so we have learned about atomic numbers, how atomic numbers are equal to number of protons only and not electrons. Okay, we also learned about valency, that what exactly valency, it is the combining capacity of an element, how it can combine. Okay, right, so this is all we have learned. I hope you understood the session. Okay, if any doubts, you can reach out to me on my Urban Pro profile. Thank you so much for joining the session. Hope to see you soon in the next session. Take care. Bye-bye.